everybody, it's Lori Bradley, and I am here in cold and snowy St. Louis, Missouri. And we are going to thank spring a little bit more today because we are going to go with the flower theme. It is Wednesday, February 12th, so we're right in the middle of February. We have 2 more weeks of celebration. So if you are watching and you haven't taken advantage of the new celebration items that came out in February, now is your chance. They are free with a $60 purchase. And starting next week, I'm going to show you one project every day for the last 2 weeks of February so that you can see some of those products in action, because I haven't fully shown you all of those. I'm going to show you one today as part of one of our cards. So today's class, we are using the Memorable Blooms bundle, which is one of the new stamp sets, or one of the new bundles in the mini catalog, the January to April mini catalog. And the first time that I saw it, I loved it because of the dies. It has nothing to do with flowers. It is the flowers. Everybody, we've got a million flower sets, but this one is pretty cool because of the dies, and I'm going to show you those dies here in just a second. So let's get going. We got 3 projects this morning. Hopefully it is warm and sunny where you are. It is not here. Let's get this started. We're going to make 3 different projects. One of the fun parts, or more fun parts of my job, we're going to call it a job, is when I get together with my demonstrator team. And they are awesome. And we had a shoebox swap this week when everybody designed a card and brought it and we all made it. And this one was actually my shoebox swap card. So we're going to make that one first. I cut extra pieces when I was doing it because I knew that I was going to do this. Let me show you the bundle first. Some really nice words. You've been on my mind. Thanks so much. You're awesome. Love that. You mean the world to me. And then they are clean, so they're not photopolymer. That's a little bit of a bummer, but that's okay. And then the dies. And I've already die cut most everything for us today. But there's a nice leaf. We're going to use that. And then we have this particular die that's a thin, and it cuts out the flower. I'm going to use that. This one is an octagon, and it cuts the inside. It does the little perforation look, and then it does the pattern around the outside, and I'm going to show you that as well. And then it cuts out, there are the flower die cuts, and I'm going to use the big one today. Hey Pam, thanks for joining me today. Are you snowed in? Are you at home hanging out? All right, so let's get started. For this card, one of my favorite color combinations, and I'm usually a brights girl, but I really like gray granite and petal pink. They are 2 of my favorites together. And so I have die cut using that octagon die, and you can see the little perforated, they're not flowers, but they're just a little pattern around the outside edge. And then I have the extra piece from the middle. And it is perforated. I'm not going to use this piece today, but I am, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with that. I might make a card and post that later because I have these 2 extra pieces and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this. I used the cane weave embossing folder for this. So I've got these 2 extra pieces that I need to do something with. All right, so I'm going to fold my cardstock in half, get my card base. Now I have a 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 square, and I'm going to glue it on the back of this, but I'm going to do a couple of things to it first. So I'm going to stamp. You know what? I didn't clean my stamp. Hopefully I don't have too much black ink. Give me 1 second here. See if I can make sure to wipe this off. All right, so I'm going to stamp this in gray granite, and I'm going to, since this is going to be about the size of the octagon, I don't have to worry too much about its placement, but I want it to go kind of down in the lower left side. I had to stop and think what my left from my right. Never been my forte. All right, so I've got the gray granite. Then Shelly. I want a little bit of background color. We could do one of two things. We could color with our Stampin' Blends. We could color our leaves and our flowers, or I'm going to take my blending brush with the Petal Pink ink, and I'm just go off a little bit, and then I'm just gonna color with my blending brush in pink around through the white piece. Yes, Pam, it should look a little bit familiar. When I cut for my swaps the other night, I cut extra because I knew I was going to do memorable blooms today because I just love this bundle. So pretend like you haven't seen it before. You can ooh and ah or not ooh and ah or, you know, any such thing. You can do this before you stamped as well. It doesn't really matter. And I just want it to be a little bit pink. Doesn't have to be solid. I don't want it to be the same as my panel on the front. Okay, so we've got our pink, which is just kind of a nice little background color. Now, before I glue it down, I'm gonna lay it kind of where I think I want it. And I'm gonna go ahead and stamp my words, so that way I know where my words are gonna be. I wanna make sure that I have plenty of room. So I'm gonna stamp You've Been on My Mind in gray granite. You can go as close to your leaves as you'd like. There we go. Now we can see where we want to place our panel on the front. I'm going to do it flat, and so to attach it, I'm actually going to put my adhesive around the back of my panel, kind of around that opening, just to make sure that it sticks. And then if I put it on this little square, then I'm not sure that I'll get it in the right spot. So this way I know that it's not going to be all over my fingers. There we go. Now, when I put this on the front of my card, I'm actually going to put it on dimensionals. Excuse me. A little bit of a frog in my throat today. All right. And so that won't show because it's a little bit smaller. I almost got to the edge there, but we could trim that if we needed to, but I think we're okay. Okay, so we're going to put that together. All right. I am ready for spring. I said that already this morning. I was working on my last card for this morning, and I'm sitting in my front window, and all of a sudden I look up and there were huge snowflakes, and then within 10 minutes my driveway was covered. It's a little bit crazy. Okay, so this one, the flowers are just simple. They're monotone, kind of monochromatic with that gray granite. Now, I'm going to put a panel on the inside, and I'm going to do the same thing again that I just did on the outside. I'm going to take my blending brush, I've threatened my kid, Caden's home today because he's on remote learning, and of course right now is his free period during the day, and so I was like, I offered to let him be a guest stamper today, and he was not interested. So I just threatened him with his life and told him he had to be quiet, but he and Matt are in the living room, so I apologize if you can hear loud noises. All right, so just a little bit of pink right across the corner, and then let's take that gray granite again. Our flowers. I'm just going to put just a little bit of decoration right down in the corner. And you still have plenty of room to write, and it all ties together with the pink and the gray granite. We're just going to put that on the inside of our card. And that's our inside panel. One of the sweets from the catalog, new mini catalog that I did not get. Oh, that one already has it. Picked up the wrong one. Put it right on the inside. and there your inside and your outside are both decorated. Now, so one of the suites, like I said, that I did not get was the storybook suite, and it has the little animals, the little storybook animals, and the vegetable garden. I have the paper and I have the other stuff, and this petal pink ribbon is one of the parts of that suite, along with the antique pearls. Love both of those. And so two of the swaps that from my shoebox swap the other night, both were from that suite, and one of them I'm actually going to use with this bundle. I'm going to switch it up a little bit, and the other one is a super fun fold, and I'm going to show you that one on a different day because it is so cool. So you can look forward to that. But I'm just going to use the petal pink ribbon. I'm going to use a glue dot. So do I clean my blending brushes? Yes and no. You can run water through them until they, run clear. They might be a little bit stained, and that's okay. And I'll show you in just a second what I do, Pam. I'm just going to put a little bow right down here in the corner, and then I'm going to embellish it with some antique pearls. And we can put those wherever. The antique pearls are very pretty. They come in small, medium, and large. I'm going to use all three sizes for this one, I think. So you can rinse them off. I have seen people use dish soap. The one thing that you have to do that's so important, and it's probably the most important part of cleaning them, is they have to be dry. Because if they are not dry, they won't blend, and it'll be ugly. So just make sure that they are completely dry. But once I've done the pink, I can keep doing this on my scratch paper, and you can see there's no more color coming off. And so I could come back in and I could go ahead and do a different pink. I could switch colors. I try to keep all like the pink together, the yellow together, the orange together. It doesn't come off. It's like the blending, not the blending brushes, the blender pens. Same thing. You just wipe it until it comes clean. The bristles will be stained a little bit, but it doesn't, and it won't get on your ink pad. It doesn't show, and it doesn't get on your ink pad. I have several blending brushes, and so I just kind of try to keep a color family together. Does that help? You can do whatever, but like I said, if you want to wash them, you can just run water over it. Just run water, and the ink will come out, especially if you have like blueberry bushel and you're running blue ink all over your sink, or if you are using real red or cherry cobbler, people will think you're bleeding in your sink. But just rinse it through and make sure that it dries really, really well. Sometimes I lay it on a paper towel. I put a paper towel down and just lay it so that the moisture kind of sucks out of your blending brush. Okay, we have card number 1 done. Now that was the, you're very welcome. That was the, what's the word I want? The subtle one. And so let me show you the next one. We're gonna up our color scheme a little bit. So this is one of the swaps that we did on Monday for my demonstrator team, and it's a fun fold. And Kathy brought this one, and this is the storybook paper, and then the storybook paper has the little punch out animals. Pam also did one of those swaps, and hers was the fun fold that I'm going to show later because it's also just fun. So it's a fun fold that looks like this, and so I'm switching this over so that it will be our Memorable Blooms bundle. So I have, and it's several layers, and I'm going to use Blackberry Bliss and white, and the paper that I'm going to use is a Celebration item, and it is the Bloom Impressions. I almost said the wrong name. My sample, I used this particular one. It's Fresh Freesia and Blackberry Bliss. But for my next one, I'm going to use this paper that has a little bit of the brighter colors, but it still has that Blackberry Bliss, so I can keep my same color scheme, sort of. I love this one, the bright flowers. With the more solid backgrounds. They're just color. Let's get off. the daffodil and the pumpkin pie is very pretty, very summery. And then the last thing, I think that's it. I love that one. So that one is free with a $60 purchase. So I'm just going to use a piece of that for our card. And like I said, I switched up the colors, so we'll see how we like this. I'm going to go ahead and put this part together. And it's just a quarter piece of thick white. So you could do this with any. Oh, you guys, I almost did the wrong size. I thought that looked a little bit big. It needs to be 4 1/4, not 4 1/2. Not sure how I did that. Let's use the right blade. There we go. Let me confirm that this side is 5 1/2. Yes, okay. Not sure how I did that. Okay. Luckily I got that before I put it down. All right, so we have our background. All right, so that's, like I said, just a quarter sheet and then a 4 by 5 1/4 panel. Then we have a piece of thick white that is 3 3/4 by 11, I think. Yes, 3 3/4 by 11, and it is scored. I should tell you all the right numbers. Scored at 2 3/4, and oh goodness, I think it's 7 3/4. I don't want to tell lies. Yes, 2 3/4 and 7 3/4. And so those are going to fold in, and this is going to be the fun fold of our card. Now, the two flaps are not the same size. There's one that's bigger, but they are both the same width. So I'm going to use the brighter flower, and I've cut that at 3 by 3 3/4. The floral pattern does not matter direction, but if you were using the houses, like from the storybook paper, just make sure that you have those going the same direction. You would be super sad if it wasn't. So this is the actual card opening, and it's going to look like this. So you've got your front. Now, this is my favorite part of the dies, and I've already done this because you didn't need to watch me do all that, but it is so delicate. I have put adhesive sheet on the back so that I can just stick it on. But this was the part of the dies that sold me. I thought this was so cool. Right, so just poke out your pieces. There's several tiny little pieces. So I'm using my take your pick tool. I'm just poking those out into my trash bin. Some of them might peel off too, but I'm going to make sure that they're out of there. I've got them all. Now, that is going to go onto, when you do the dies, actually let me show you this really quick. Uh-oh, let's see. The 12 by 12 card fold. 12, which card was that? Was that Mary's card, Pam? I would happily show it again if you just remind me which card that was. Okay. And if I have it here, I could show it right now. Okay, so when you do these dies, the intricate die fits inside the stop sign. So it fits in like that, and you run it through, and so you get the perforation around the outside, and then the piece that I pulled out actually was this piece, and then the outside edge would have that, but I've already cut that off, so it doesn't actually have that in there. All right, so those just run through at the same time to get that outline. Isn't that fun? All right, now, on my sample, I got a little nervous, and I actually glued this down first. And then I was stuck, and I was afraid to stamp on the actual card because I was afraid I'd mess it up. So my sample, I didn't put any words, and I think it needs something there. So I'm going to put the love and thanks. Instead of putting it on the inside, I'm going to put it right here for this one and hope for the best. But I'm just going to lay it down. And the reason I'm just going to lay it down is because it was, I can flip it over because no one's going to see that edge. So I've got a little bit of wiggle room for this one. All right, so I'm going to use my Blackberry Bliss ink, and I'm going to do love and thanks. Oh, I think those were one of the cards that Mary had made, and I actually don't have that one, and I was not near when she did that. So I will ask her, and I will see if I can find out how she did that, and I will see what I can do. If not, we'll have another guest stamper. All right, so I'm just going to lay that on there. I have to move it closer to me, though, so I can see, and I'm just going to stamp love and thanks right at the top. And if we don't like it, then we'll flip it over, and if we don't like that, then we're going to do it on the inside. Okay, I think it's okay. I think I did well. All right, so yes, I will ask her. All right, now I have the adhesive sheet on the back here, so I'm just going to peel that off. Adhesive sheets are my #1 favorite thing, I think, because they make the sticker. You just put it on the back, you run it through your die cut, and then you can see the shiny, and that is a sticker. Okay, and that fits obviously right. I'm going to do the flowers at the bottom, right on there. Now, if for some reason, like you get it a little bit off, and you can see the white in the back, not a big deal. I think we're okay, but pretend that white right there is visible. Just take your scissors and trim along that edge because no one's going to see the back of it. Just trim it along there. Just like that. Okay, so we have our love and thanks. We've pushed that down, and we're going to put that right on the front of our card. Now, the flap that comes down is the one I'm going to put that on, so we're only going to attach this on the top part. We don't want this bottom section to have any adhesive on it because we don't want our card to get stuck together. So I'm going to put dimensionals at the top. Make sure you've got your top. I do love a good fun fold. And that reminds me that for this class that we are doing right now, of course you're watching for free. If you spend $50 in my online store, you will get the card kits for free, all 3 of them. I can't stamp them for you, so the one that's stamped like this, you would need a similar, I can die cut, but I cannot, I can't stamp for you. But, actually, let's put one in the middle here too. But if you spend $50 in my online store, I will send you all the card kits. But if you spend $60, you will get a celebration item. So this paper right here that we're doing could be one of your celebration items. But if you spend $50, you'll get the card kits and a fun fold class to be held in, this is February, so in March, at the end of March, I'll have a fun fold class online. So, and you would get 3 different cards of the same fun fold. So that's always a fun thing to get a free class. All right, now we can go ahead and glue this piece down onto our card front. You want to make sure that you've got plenty of glue on this because this is going to be the open foldy piece. We're going to put that right in the center. buttons like that. Now, you can leave it white on the inside, or you can add some layers. Either way is totally fine. I'm going to go ahead and add the layers just to give it a little more color. This one would also be very pretty if we used the Melon Mambo, or the, I don't know if it's Flirty Flamingo or Calypso Coral. I would have to check that, but to use one of the other colors as well. I'm going to put this on the inside. So all of our layers are 1/4 of an inch in, so that they all look the same. We've got the white, and just like that. Now, I didn't put any ribbon on this one, but let's put a couple of the pearls, the antique pearls. You know what, let's do them as our flower centers. I think that'd be really pretty. Ta-da! Oh, I didn't pick it up. Take Your Pick tool is perfect for picking up small pieces like this. There are 3 flowers that I think are great. Let's see, do I need that size? I think I do. And there you have it. Love and thanks. The Blackberry Bliss and Gold ribbon that was in the Holiday Mini catalog is actually on the last chance list right now, and that would be very pretty too to wrap around and to match that Blackberry Bliss. So there's that one. Card number 2. Okay, card number 3. I'm going to ask for an opinion. I made my first card. I made it with lemon lolly flowers, so they're pale yellow. And I made my card base yellow. Now, I'm going to ask if you would like me to color my flowers a different color. All right, so I did lemon lolly. If you are watching, I would love, love, love your opinion. I did a lemon lolly card base, and I did a little bit of coloring and shading with the lemon lolly blends. But I have a white card base here ready to go if you would like to see a different color flower. So if there's a color that you think would be perfect, a pink color, a peach pie, one of the other colors, please speak up. Like, let me know what color that you're thinking. I have already stamped, and I stamped this in black memento ink. I've stamped 2 just in case I mess up. Of 2 of the flowers, and then I have also die cut one of the old olive leaves, one of the leaf stems, and then here you can see that pretty little pattern around the outside edge. And this is going to fit right in the middle of that. All right, what's your favorite color? Pam, you always have an opinion too, so let's hear it. A pink, a purple, what color would you like me to make these flowers? Or I can go with yellow again, that's also fine. All right, I did a little bit of shading with the old olive. I'm not sure if I'm loving that. I think it's okay. So I'm not sure. I think just to add a little bit of depth. Maybe I'll do, I usually have things decided before I start doing them. So let's see. Let's start with the thanks so much. And that's the old olive. If you know me, old olive has never been one of my favorites. It's growing on me. I'm getting there. Okay, and I'm just gonna stamp that on our hexagon. I'm gonna stamp it kind of on that side a little bit. The old olive goes with pretty much any of the colors that we would choose for our flowers. And I'm gonna use the blend. I am gonna add a little bit of old olive to that. Pam, if you're still watching, I used a blending brush that I had kind of a, I don't know if this was Lost Lagoon or Pretty Peacock, but I used the old olive on it, and you can't see the other color. It's just that old olive. So, all right, I'm going to start off my thing, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of color, just a little bit. Doesn't have to be a ton. Crushed curry. Would you believe that crushed curry does not have blends? There are no crushed curry blends. Now I could do daffodil, but that's very similar to our lemon lolly. This is the one that what I used. I'm not sure that I love this. It's all right. This side's going to be covered. All right. So pick another color, Pam. Another color that you would like to see that has blends. It has to have blends. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color my leaves. And I know everyone's going to be shocked when well, my old olive blends at the tips are nasty. And so I never realized this until I'm doing my live. So my greens will have to be done with not the brush tip, the marker tip. So I'm just going to shade in my leaves before I start. There's no right or wrong, and I'm kind of usually pretty quick about it. Because the more I think about it, the worse it looks. Pumpkin pie. All right. Actually, I think my pumpkin pie blends are dry too. Yeah. And they are in my order that's coming. It's been shipped, but it's not here yet. All right. How about, let's see. Another one. Is there one more color? You get one more chance. Or if anyone else has a color that they would love to see. Sorry, Pam. I will do one in orange at some point. But literally, my daffodil and my pumpkin pie, I started to use them for butterflies the other day, for a monarch butterfly, and they were dry. When I put them out for class, I guess sometimes I just don't realize that they're dry. So I need to work on that. Let's see. More leaf. A couple leaves that have. So I'm just coloring the leaves for this minute. Start with your dark shade. All the blends come in a dark and a light. And then you start with your dark, and then you can blend it, thus the name blends, with your lighter color. You can pull that dark color out so that it looks like it's better if you have the brush end, but since we're struggling with our brush ends of our markers this week, I'm just going to color it with the marker so you can see. I'm just going to shade that. You can go over it so that your blends. One thing to be sure about with your blends, make sure you have something underneath, because they do tend to soak through, so you don't want them to get on your table. I left mine out for class once, and I have some pretty designs on one of my tables, so just make sure that you have scrap paper of some kind underneath your coloring when you're blending. You can always go back and add more green. You can make your leaves darker or lighter. If you want to pull some off, you could use the color lifter. All right. Peachy. All right, peach pie. Peach pie it is. I think that'll be pretty. So we'll just change up our color. We could watch me color all these leaves. Hopefully I'm going to color all of them and not leave some. I usually like to color and stamp and color before I cut things out, but since I didn't want you to have to wait for me to do that, I went ahead and I stamped it and die cut it, so you didn't have to wait for me to do that. All right, peach pie it is. Give me 1 second. And we'll use peach pie. We'll start with the dark peach pie. These should not be dry, so we will do peachy. If you place an order between now and Sunday and you are going to get this class for free, I'm going to make sure that the card base for this one is white so that you can use whatever blends you have that so that it doesn't clash. Because if you don't have lemon lolly blends, you might not want lemon lolly cardstock. It is almost Galentine's Day. Tomorrow is Galentine's Day, which was not a thing, I don't think, until a few years ago. I'd like to do a giveaway tomorrow, so I will do a quick little giveaway. So be sure to check out that post tomorrow. All right, let's blend in this lighter shades. And no two of my flowers are the same. When I did my yellow, I just started adding those. Oh, I see a green that I missed. Get that. Good thing I was watching. Okay. Right. I love to color. I've always loved to color since I was a little kid. One of my favorite things was at the beginning of the school year when, you know, you got a new pack of crayons and they smelled so good, and I always was sad when I had to use those crayons that they didn't have the pointy tip anymore. So, and I have one more leaf. See, I was not fully noticing all my leaves until, okay, I think the leaves are done now. If you see one, yell at me. And there we have it. So we can make, if you decide that you want a little bit more dark, we can come back in and add some darker to make it. But I love the blends. I think they're so pretty. All right, so there is our peach pie. Now, I'm gonna do the same thing for this one. I'm gonna use my thick white card base so that we don't clash. I had that ready. Now, I'm going to lay down. Oh wait, I'm gonna lay my panel, my white panel, on my old olive panel. And I'm gonna just lay this in the middle, okay, to see where I'm gonna put it. I'm going to put the panel on the outside on dimensionals, but this inside piece I'm going to put flat. So I'm just gonna use regular adhesive. Back in my day, the crayons that had the sharpeners were like the, I don't know, was it 64 crayons? Like, it was the big pack of crayons, and I was never allowed to get those. I don't think I ever had those. I think 48 was the biggest crayon box I ever had for school. I don't know, now there's probably boxes of 5 million, who knows. All right, so I'm just gonna lay that in there. Fits perfectly, so then we'll know where we're gonna put our other piece. Now, let's lift that up. That's already stuck down. We're going to flip this over. We're going to use our dimensionals. So yeah, if you had the crayons with the sharpener, you were fancy. I wasn't fancy. Probably traumatized me. It's probably, you know, one of those things that shaped me as an adult. All right, I'm going to put a couple of small ones right along the edge just to make sure that our edges stick right along there. I don't usually use this many dimensionals, but when you've got something like this that has an outline, make sure that your outline stays where it needs to. I think that's enough. I think I have successfully used 1 million dimensionals. 24. They've come a long way since then. Of course, now the 24 pack are the ones that are on sale for like 25 cents at Walmart before school starts. The bigger ones are more expensive. Maybe that's why I never got fancy ones. I'm not sure. All right, so this is going to fit right. We're going to put it right back where it goes so that it's around the outside edge of the stop sign. And it's going to be standing up. Okay, we've got it standing up. Let's go ahead, put this on our card front. So this bundle is very versatile. We have the dies that are, somebody did not do a very good job of scoring her cardstock. No names mentioned. Okay. Oh my goodness. I always score the white because it's harder to fold, but oh my goodness. You know, the one thing I haven't done, and I apologize if you are looking at my hand thinking how yucky it looks. Okay, this is gonna make me crazy. We're gonna get a new piece of white. Because I can't score in a straight line. I'm gonna give you my public service announcement. My public service announcement for February. 20 years ago this month, I was diagnosed with malignant melanoma. And it was a mole on my wrist. Right, it was right here. I don't want you to have to look at that part, but it was right there in the middle. And when my doctor took it off, it did not look like anything serious. Like, it didn't look as bad as what the melanoma that you would think of, the black, the hairy, all of the grossness. And he removed it, and it came back a week later that it was actually malignant melanoma, and I had to have extra surgery, and because when he shaved it off, there was no clear margins, so I have a skin graft, which is kind of a big deal. Hopefully I scored this one better than the last one. Yes, I did. And so anyway, I go once a year, and I have an all-over check to make sure that there's nothing unusual, no moles. So my public service announcement for today is to just make sure that you check if you can stay out of tanning beds, and I know it's hard to stay out of the sun, but just make sure that you're careful. Use sunscreen. There you go. It's my lecture for today. Okay, I'm going to just put these so they're down along the edge, and I'm just going to put some adhesive on the back of my flowers, trying to decide where I'm going to put those, and then poke that leaf along the back. Let's go right about there. All right, now this piece is up, this piece is down. If we're going to attach it in the middle, we need a little bit of adhesive around the outside edges just so that it'll stick to the piece that's up. And I'm going to put some dimensionals right in the middle just to be sure that the middle section doesn't go lower than it should. Just like that. And this will be the third way to use this bundle. And then you can place it wherever you want. Just like that. So there is our peach pie. There is our lemon lolly. Let's add some of the antique pearls. I love the antique pearls. I'm just gonna admit it. Put one there. My flowers are a little farther over on this one, so I'm going to use just three tiny ones. I'm gonna put two over here. Just like that. And actually, you know what? Let's up our game. If you spend $50, you'll get a fun fold class and the card kits. If you spend $75, I will send you in your packet with your fun fold, I will send you a packet of the antique pearls. So if you spend $50 in my online store, you'll get today's card kits and a fun fold class. If you spend $60, you'll get those plus a celebration item from Stampin' Up. And if you spend $75, you'll get all of those and a package of antique pearls. So I will include my hostess code if you place your order by Sunday. Then you will qualify for that. And let me show you our cards one more time really quick. We've got our stamped, colored, and die cut. We have our one that I need to put. We've got just the die cut. The ornamental die cut, and then this one we just use the die cut and stamp the stamps without any fancy coloring. It's just pretty. So, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and I will put, like I said, the hostess code in the comments for today's video, and I will look forward to seeing you all next week. Like I said, next week I'm going to start a celebration, show you something new every day so that we can end celebration in a great fashion. So I will look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a great rest of your day, and stay in, stay warm, stay safe. Thanks.